Just waiting.
Oh,
You said 4.
busy afternoon.
Okay. Okay, this is the regular city council meeting for the city of Joliet for Tuesday, June 20th, 2017, chaired by the Honorable Mayor Bob Odekirk. The invocation will be given by Reverend Fritz Bartels of Grace United Methodist Church at 1718 Avalon Avenue, after which he will lead us in a pledge to the flag. So please rise.
Let us pray. Creator God, the giver of life, the source of strength and the hope of our tomorrows, we thank you for the possibilities that exist within this council. You have called us all people to live lives of righteousness and justice. You have called all people to live lives of peace and wholeness. But we confess that sometimes we have cared more for lofty places than we have for places of service. We confess that we sometimes have worked more for power than we have for purpose. Bless now those who gather in this place. Give the gifts of discernment, give the gifts of wisdom, give the gifts of vision. To those who lead here, grant the patience of cooperation. To those who debate here, grant clarity of thought. To those who decide here, grant the courage for truth. Keep ever before us the broken places of our life together, places of despair and disappointment. Set our ears to hear the cry of the poor. Set our eyes to hear the needs of the sick. Set our hearts to beat in the rhythm of yours. And blend us all with all people of goodwill, both in this place and beyond, in order that this city might be a signal of hope and fulfillment. Amen. Please join me now in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Nice person. Pleasure to meet you.
We'll begin with roll call. Mayor Odekirk.
Here.
Councilman Dickinson.
Here.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Here.
Councilman Girl.
Here.
Councilman Hug.
Here.
Councilman Morris.
Here.
Councilman Mudrin.
Here.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Here.
Councilman Turk.
Here.
First on the agenda under Mayor is Mayor Odekirk appointments. Tonight, the mayor is recommending the following reappointments to the Joliet Public Library Board: Gail Golick and Diane Harris. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve the reappointments of Gail Golick and Diane Harris to the Joliet Public Library Board. Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Also this evening, the mayor is recommending the following appointments to the Community Relations Advisory Board: Berneva McCullum and Cornell Darden Jr. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve the appointments of Berneva McCullum and Cornell Darden Jr. to the Community Relations Advisory Board. Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Motion carried. Approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as written?
So moved.
Second.
Motion seconded to approve. Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is citizens to be heard on agenda items. Is there anyone present that would like to speak on an agenda item this evening? Seeing none, we'll move on to Mayor Pro Tem. Is there a motion to appoint Councilman Don Duck Dickinson to serve as Mayor Pro Tem for the term July 1st, 2017 through September 30th, 2017?
So moved.
Second.
Motion
Maybe we
seconded.
need an executive session.
Councilman, you're brand new. You're over your skis on this.
Telling you.
What? Man.
Let's take it over.
It's been motion and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
I'll vote aye as long as the extra money's in the budget.
Councilman Dickinson.
You can vote aye.
I,
Councilwoman Gavin.
Only if he promises not to have another 10 o'clock meeting.
never again.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council committee reports. First is Diversity and Community Relations Committee.
Yes. Your Honor, the Diversity Committee met Monday, June 19th at 2017 at 9 a.m. here in the council chambers. The committee consists of Councilwoman Quillman, Councilman Morris, and also in attendance was Councilman Don Dickerson. The committee expressed our thanks to each of the providers who came before the committee for their valuable services that they bring to our community. And we also listened as the nonprofits appeared before us with their concerns and issues facing their organizations during these tough economic times. So the Spanish Center, thank you, sir. The leaders from the Spanish Center expressed an urgent need for immediate assistance from the city as they face state budget issues. Leaders from the Warren Sharp, Will Grundy Medical, Harvey Brooks, Unity CDC, and LifeLink also addressed the value of their services that they provide and a need for an action plan with the assistance from the city and other governmental agencies to assist them with finding solutions to continue their services. They also expressed their willingness to be included in the developing of creative solutions. Several of them identified some ideas and agreed to meet and come back with a proposal to the committee and identifying the next steps, sir.
Excellent.
That is the end of my report.
Thank you.
Economic Development Committee report.
The Economic Development Committee met on June 15th at 5 p.m. here at City Hall. On the committee is Councilman Mudrin, Councilman Morris, and myself. We had 2 items on the agenda, one of which was pulled by the petitioner for no particular reason, just wanted to go in a different direction. So all we did was discuss, in short, the Crabagales redevelopment, if you will, and gave staff authority to move forward and negotiate an agreement to bring back to ourselves and therefore the council, and that's the sum total of our meeting.
And Councilman, there was a discussion, it was reported in the paper. And Steve, if I can include you in this, about what we're facing with redevelopment downtown and specifically related to residential units. Do you mind engaging the council in that same discussion?
Sure, thanks, Mayor. As everyone knows, one of the major tenets of our downtown plan is the stated need to really increase the number of market residential units for a couple reasons. One is more vibrancy downtown, but perhaps more importantly, people generate money. In terms of going to the restaurants, encouraging restaurants and entertainment venues to come in because there is a stated population. So the key is bulk up the population. We've had several people step to the plate. Barber Building was one. We have the 141 building in Wright Field where there's residential development proposed. But the key is we're starting to hear that we have an issue with appraised values downtown. Now think about renovating one of these buildings. Obviously, you go out to bid, contractors are bidding what 2017 dictates to get businesses and residents in those buildings today. If the appraisals that are coming back from banks aren't generating the kind of values that it takes to get the necessary loans, you could have a situation where it cost more to build the building, to gut it, to bring it to 2017 standards, than what the building is worth on paper. That's creating a problem. So the key is I clued in the committee to talk about this, to put it on the radar screen, because I think at some point in time, the city is going to perhaps have to take a different approach with regard to TIF. We've done rebates after development occurs in the past, where we reimburse people for 15, 20, 23 years for the work they've done. I think we're now about to enter a stage where the market is going to dictate that we consider loans up front. Because if the banks aren't going to fill that gap that's necessary, when you look at loan to value, the city's either going to have to step up and sort of be that lender, secondary lender of necessity, or we're going to have to lower our standards with regard to what we expect downtown. So there's no decision at this point. There's no specific project. There's no specific recommendation that I have for you. But I think as these projects start to work towards actually having a redevelopment agreement that could move forward, I think the city is going to have to take a little bit of that economic risk up front. Certainly minimize the risk to the extent we can, but take a risk that perhaps we haven't taken in the past. And if we're able to get a couple of projects successfully built, we're then in a situation where some of the banks then look at that as being some of the comparable data, so that in effect the market starts to move because of our efforts. So don't mean to bore you with a lot of banking and real estate, but I think we're going to have to change our approach if we want residential downtown of a market rate nature. So I think that summarizes where we were. Certainly answer any questions you may have.
Questions?
No, just one comment. My apologies, I completely forgot to pass it over to you, Steve. Thank you, Mayor, for remembering what I forgot.
Okay. Thank you, Steve.
Finance Committee report.
Your Honor, the Finance Committee, comprised of Councilman Girl, Councilman Mudrin, and myself, met at 5:30 this evening here at City Hall to review the minutes of our last meeting. We had discussion of the retiree health care actuarial valuation. We also had discussion on the changing of contract workers to full-time employees. In the IT division, there's 3 employees who are here, contract employees through a temp agency. The director would like to hire them on a full-time basis with the city. The cost savings, hiring them with their salary and benefits, would be about a little over $94,000 savings to the city, rather than keeping them through the temp agency. So I believe he's talked to the members of the IT committee, and he will bring it to the full council at the next meeting. Also, we reviewed the monthly financial reports, personnel summary, travel expense, and invoices paid. Found them all to be in order and recommend their approval.
Thank you.
Public Safety Committee report.
Yes, Your Honor, the Public Safety Committee met earlier this evening. The Public Safety Committee consists of myself, Councilman Hugg, and Councilman Dickinson. We have one item of business that we discussed, and it's on the agenda today under Council Number 337. As you may recall, 2 weeks ago, we actually tabled this item and remanded it back to the Board of Fire and Police Board, the Police and Fire Board, to discuss the preference points relating to residency. The Police and Fire Board reviewed it again. They came back with the same recommendation. On a vote of 3-0, the committee confirmed their recommendation, and so we move forward with approval tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Public Service Committee report.
Public Service Committee met today here at City Hall. It consists of myself, Councilman Dickinson, and Councilwoman Gavin. Generally, it was housekeeping, repairs, change orders, contracts. We did have a brief discussion about the state budget impasse. I don't say crisis because it's more of a habit now. And good news is that there are some projects that will be affected by it. But generally speaking, the resurfacing throughout the city, the yearly resurfacing, we've already gotten the money from the state for the motor fuel tax. So the resurfacing projects will still go forward. There's a few projects, including, for instance, Caton Farm in Essington, the Caton Farm Bridge, but those are already structurally done. It's a matter of punch lists. So hopefully we won't see a lot of inconvenience if they don't get a budget by the 30th. Other than that, we found everything to be in order. And everything on here is on the agenda tonight for vote, and everything on here was moved forward with a unanimous recommendation for approval to the full council. And that's my report.
Thank you.
I show no other reports. Under consent agenda, approval of minutes. It's recommended the minutes of the pre-council meeting held on June 5th and the minutes of the regular meeting held on June 6, 2017 stand approved as recorded. Invoices paid report. It's recommended this report be received and placed on file. In Council Memo 325-17, position vacancies. It's recommended the city manager be authorized to fill the following positions. 1 equipment operator 1 position in the roadways division, 1 police sergeant position, 1 fleet services position in administrative services department, and 1 temporary planning assistant in community development department, and any subsequent vacancies which may occur with these positions. Is there a motion to approve said consent agenda items?
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye, with the exception of those that pertain to my employer.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Girl?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Motion carried. Under licenses and permit applications, Council Memo 327-17, reclassification of a Class P liquor license at 201 West Jefferson Street, Billy Liemacher Bicentennial Park and Theater. It's recommended Billy Liemacher Bicentennial Park be issued a Class P liquor license.
So moved.
Second.
The motion is seconded to approve. Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Girl?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 328-17, issuance of a Class E liquor license at 709 Collins Street, El Carbone Restaurant. It's recommended El Carbone be issued a Class E liquor license.
So moved.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Girl?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Motion carried. Under public hearings, Council Memo 330-17 is an ordinance approving the annexation of 4 acres located at 2121 South Chicago Street, classification to B3 General Business Zoning, and approval of an annexation agreement. It's recommended Council Memo 330-17 be tabled to the July 18th council meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to table Council Memo 330-17 to the July 18th council meeting. Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Girl?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Motion carried. Under ordinances, Council Memo 331-17, an ordinance amending Chapter 4, Article 2, Section 4-23A2 of the Liquor Code. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Girl?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 332-17 is an ordinance amending Chapter 4, Article 2, Section 4-16F of the Liquor Code. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Girl?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 333-17 is an ordinance amending Chapter 4, Article 2, Section 4-11 of the Liquor Code. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Girl?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
I vote no. Too big of an increase at one time. I could vote for a step rate, but to go from $100 to $750 is too much.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Motion carried 7-1. Council Memo 334-17 is an ordinance amending Chapter 4, Article 2, Section 4-25-1 of the Liquor Code. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hugg.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 335-17 is an ordinance approving a recording plat of Centerpoint Intermodal Center at Joliet Subdivision Phase 17. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Yes, excuse me, yes.
Just report, we had a meeting with Attorney Mike Hansen and UP, Union Pacific, and the Centerpoint folks with some of the neighbors that live down there. And the issue that kept coming up is not only traffic, but I did talk to the chief about that, but the second thing was the noise from the Mars plant, and also they'd like a quiet zone down there where the trains are, because they blast all the time and wakes them up in the middle of the night. And I don't mind approving this, but I just, to working with the neighbors and keep them informed, because they still live down there, we should do something to help their quality of life a little bit. So besides the traffic, and I know I've talked to the city manager with Mrs. Smith that lives down there about a quiet zone, and she'd like us to pursue that. And Marty, she did look at the information you sent her, but she feels it's a little bit too complicated for her to work through. So I know we did a quiet zone on the far west side over by Theodore Crossing. Is there something we can't do to help these folks
I can look into it and provide more information.
and talk to her? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Was motion is seconded to approve Council Memo 335-17. Councilman Morris voted aye. Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Oh, one more question. What about the Mars factory that's making all that noise? Is there anything we can do?
Again, we'll have to look into that.
Okay, all right. I'll vote aye. Thank you.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hugg.
Aye.
Motion carried. Under Resolutions, Council Memo 337-17 is a resolution approving the rules and regulations of the Board of Fire and Police Commissioners. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hugg.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 338-17 is a resolution appropriating funds for Phase 1 and 2 engineering services for the Washington Street over Hickory Creek Bridge Repair Project 2016. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hugg.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Under bids and contracts, award of contracts. Council Memo 340-17, purchase portable radios, batteries, and accessories. Council Memo 341-17, purchase of 2 hybrid articulating bucket trucks for the electric division. Council Memo 342-17, purchase a tandem axle 6x4 truck with snowplow accessories for the roadways division. Council Memo 343-17, purchase a 3-wheel broom street sweeper for the roadways division. Council Memo 344-17, award a contract for the lowest place sanitary sewer replacement project. Council Memo 345-17, approve geographic information systems professional services. And Council Memo 346-17, approve the emergency replacement of the Rockwell 1 motor. It's recommended Council Memos 340 through 346-17 be approved.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hugg.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Motion carried. Amendments, change orders, and payments. Council Memo 349-17, approve change order number 1 and payment number 1 and final for emergency ambulance repair. Council Memo 350-17, approve amendment number 1 for Phase 1 and 2 engineering services for the Washington Street over Hickory Creek Bridge Repair Project 2016. Council Memo 351-17, approve change order number 1 for the Well 23D Rehabilitation Project. And Council Memo 352-17, approve payment for the Asset Management Work Order System Annual Maintenance 2017. It's recommended Council Memos 349 through 352-17 be approved.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is the city manager's report.
Thank you. Good evening. I have 4 items. The first, just to give you an update on the city manager search. Last I heard, there were 50 applicants. So now they're going to be sorting through them, and there might even be more beyond that. Secondly, there is no need for executive session. I don't have all the information yet for you. I have some of the information, but not all of it. So again, no need for executive. Third, there is our next meeting will be Wednesday, July 5th, as a combined meeting due to the 4th of July holiday. And lastly, I do have...
Marty, really quick, City Hall will be open on the 3rd.
Yes, we'll be open on the 3rd, but no meeting on the 3rd. We'll have a... Correct?
Correct. Combined meeting on the 5th
Okay.
at 6:30.
And then the last thing is I did invite Mr. Filato from the Rialto board here, and I just want to let council know I've received a revised list of shows and performances, which actually, if you now look at the revised list, it doesn't have, now it has additional shows. And I just want to let the council know that, they've met, it looks like they've met the 30 shows, so we will be issuing the second installment for the 250,000. But then I just had a question for Mr. Filato. As I was looking at the list, and if you could kind of explain to us how these shows come about and how these shows are booked.
So Mayor, City Council members, thank you for having us this evening. This is Val Devine. She's much more smarter about this than I am. And so I've asked her to respond to Mr. Shanahan's question. Could you repeat that, Marty?
Sure. So I was looking at the list, and it seems like a number of the shows are targeted towards, I wouldn't say older, for example, But, and then, the kids shows, but I'm looking at the new list, and it doesn't have all the kids shows on there. Just how exactly are shows, brought in to the Rialto? Is that, whose decision is it to bring these shows in?
Well, there are several different ways we go about booking a show. Sometimes people come with an idea, have you ever looked into X, Y, or Z? A lot of the motivation for booking a show is based on touring. So who's out and about, what their touring schedule looks like, because they try to follow something that's called routing. So if they start off in the West Coast, they're going to plot their way across the state, and we might hit 2 months into their run, or, vice versa, because it doesn't make sense for them to, zigzag all the way across the country back and forth. We look at what their numbers look like, who's selling well, who has a high presence on Facebook, what their popularity is. Other things that affect us are where else they've been booked. Ravinia is sadly, although very far away from us, it is a huge contender in being able to block out a large portion of the market because they can pay an artist a lot more money because of the way that they structure their tickets and their seating. And then a lot also has to do with the fact that we are still very heavily based in a co-promote situation, which means the Rialto, due to being financially, fiscally responsible, is not taking a lot of risks on a show. So when we find someone, when we find an artist, we need to be able to find someone to partner with to make that show happen. A lot of times thus far it has been VenueWorks, burdening the financial risk of a show, but sometimes it's another promoter coming to us.
So besides the Music Mondays, what other partnerships have you formed then with, any other businesses or entities?
Well, if you'll look on the sheet If you go down to the gospel show, that is something that we are working with locally to put on. Also, some of the other shows that are listed, like, for example, Gordon Lightfoot, that's a co-promoted show. It doesn't necessarily indicate it in anything that the general public would see on some of the name brand shows, but in the financials, it is structured in a manner that we have zero to little risk when the show comes in.
Okay, thank you, first of all, for coming forward. Val, you've been here for 2 months or less, so certainly the issues that have gone at the theater is not your fault or responsibility, and that applies to the new board as well. Thank you all for coming. You were thrown in a very rough situation, so thank you for the work you're doing to get us moving forward. I have one question. One of the current concerns that I'm hearing a lot has to do, and we talked about the diversity of the programming, but also the demographics of the programming. For example, Loretta Lynn, I plan on taking my mother. She's 75 years old. When you look down the street at the Forge, or you look at other venues in Aurora or in St. Charles, there's acts that are hidden all different age ranges, not just acts that are designed for seniors. And I'm not seeing that at all on the list. Are there acts coming that will appeal? It's fine that you have acts for kindergarten kids and for 60-year-olds, but what about everybody in between? Are there acts that 20-year-olds are going to be coming to the theater to see?
Well, as I said in our meeting earlier today, and as you just alluded to, Mayor, we didn't get to the place that we are overnight. And so as we work to rebuild, we go to the place where we've had the most success, which is with that demographic, and God bless your mom and you for coming to see Loretta Lynn. But we are trying to reach out. The paranormal show that we're doing, Sir No Face, I would venture to guess skews, I doubt your mom's coming, right?
No. Maybe my wife.
Maybe, okay. So skewing a little bit different demographic than we normally would, a Loretta Lynn or a Gordon Lightfoot. So we are working in that direction. Again, because we are in a no-risk situation, we have to find people that are willing to partner with us. And each and every show that we do builds our credibility back in the market with the agents that they worked with for a very long time, or that I've worked with for a very long time, and gets us back on their radar screen again to remember that when particular artists are going out, that they let us know and that we're able to jump on some of those acts.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Yes.
Thank you for coming. I wanted to pay a little bit of attention to your gospel, and you said that's being arranged locally. Okay. I wanted to follow up on the Ann Nesbitt, Grammy Award-winning artist who is local, right, from Joliet, has been trying to get back home to perform in front of family and friends. Thought at one time we were on a track to bring her in. Can you give me some information about that?
Well, I don't know anything about that. I've not spoken to anyone about that. Do you know who she was working with when she was?
Jeff, could you kind of follow up a little bit? We had some conversation earlier about her. I got an email back saying that she was being reached out to.
Can you step to the microphone, please? Thank you, Jack.
If I recall correctly, I think we were talking about last spring, and there was emails that went back and forth, and the emails pretty much stopped, so I never got, after we communicated once or twice through emails, that's kind of where it stopped.
Okay, did it stop on your end, or
No,
did it
did
stop
not.
on
No,
her
it did not.
end, or, because I know she has reached back out. Her management company, I think, supposedly contacted the Rialto. So I just kind of wanted to know where that was, and how are we looking at more of a diverse group of acts coming in? Have you looked at? Thank you so much. Thank you.
We do have, if you look under December 15th, holiday, and it is a diverse lineup of entertainers. Again, we're not at liberty to announce the show yet, due to the fact that, and I don't know if we talked about this when I was here last time, but a lot of times when we book a tour, the tour has a marketing plan of its own. And then we, of course, piggyback on with our own marketing plan. So the tour may plan a big announce, which we, of course, want to be a part of because we get a lot more bang for our buck. It goes on their Facebook page and all kinds of things. So a lot of shows that you see that are booked are not announced because we're following the national marketing plan that we will then piggyback on once it's announced.
Okay, and you talked a little bit about if groups are being booked into the area. And so I know for a fact, like, diverse groups are being booked into the venue. Do you have any relationship with the venue over in Hammond? Is that the kind of tracking that you're doing when groups come into big venues like that, or?
Generally, in the industry, there is pretty standardly, again, Ravinia, well, actually, it actually may fall under this mile-wise, but not travel-wise. There's a 100-mile radius clause, so that a venue that is booking an act can garner the most attendance from what they consider to be a realistic market range. So that's why they don't book something, at a venue here and a venue 20 miles away, because you're all trying to draw from the same pool. And I know that frequently when I worked at another job, the Holiday Star Plaza was sometimes, it was a give and take on that one because technically it was almost within that radius clause.
Thank you.
I do have a follow-up question, Mayor. So you mentioned like a no risk situation. So then I kind of, it leads me to my next question is what is the cost then to open the doors to any of these shows, and then do you calculate how many tickets or how much revenue you have to pull in to break even on these shows to make it a no risk show?
Well, for every show, we do what's called a risk assessment. And in the risk assessment, we compile all of the financial factors having to do with that show. So it's the cost of the artist, it's the stagehands, it's the food we feed them, it's the staff that it takes. And you come up with a lump sum, if you will.
Okay.
Then we start looking at our revenue and how many tickets we need to sell for a particular show to break even. And then we start to look at it and say, well, X artist, and we have a graph, and, we're going to have to sell somewhere between 1,700 and 1,800 tickets. Ooh, do we think we can do that? So, we really have to look at the artist and see what their pull is. I know the children's shows were a topic of discussion yesterday, and at a $6 ticket, it's amazing that their break even is right around 100 tickets with the sponsorship that we have. So they're great revenue generators for us at a time when generating revenue with the zero risk is very important to us.
Mayor?
Yes.
Questions? Okay, I get emails lots of times from the Genocide Theater up in Waukegan, and their seating capacity is 2,433, and ours is like 1926. However, their theater is in the heart of Waukegan in an area that is sorely, sorely depressed. I mean, many of the, I don't know if you've been up there, but many of the stores that surround the Genesee Theater are boarded up, and it just looks like this beautiful theater in the middle of a diamond in the rough, let's just say that, okay? So, but they're always putting on shows. Last fall, they had Teresa Caputo. They're having the 65th anniversary of the movie Singing in the Rain. Plus, this summer, they have a film series, The Blues Brothers, Music Man, Indiana Jones, Temple of Doom. And the 65th anniversary, I was thinking that would be great to have it at a venue like that at the Rialto, 1920s, that was built around when the talkies came. And I've made many suggestions in the past because I used to be on the board, but, make it a 20s theme, have people come, dress up, and it's a fun event. But none of that is happening. And right now, the concert update that they have is, of course, they've also booked Olivia Newton-John, but we all know, unfortunately, that she's very ill. But you got Huey Lewis and the News, Happy Together Tour, the Turtles, the Association, Box Tops, Cowsills, the Archies. Then you've got Alton Brown Live, America with special guest Al Stewart, the Blue Oyster Cult. This is just to name a few of the many things that are going on there. How do they do it? How do they do it? Why can't the Rialto?
Do you know their financial condition?
No. That's why I want to know how they can do it, because the area around it is very depressed, but they get people from all over. I mean, I've gone up there to see the the theater. And people, because it's so far away, you know, you want to go have drinks, you want to go to the theater, you go out and have a dinner to one of the surrounding restaurants, and then you go to the theater and spend the night in one of the motels or hotels, if you will.
Without knowing their financial position,
I'm sure it's public record, but I'm just saying,
what they're getting, we don't.
how do they do it? That's why I'm saying I'm giving this to you as an idea to look at, because, and then the Paramount. I know how the Paramount does it because they get the Hollywood Theater support, and because they own some property, they have to pay rent on that, and that's how they help subsidize the Paramount. But it just baffles me that
Contact them and find out.
this theater, I mean, I wish you could find that out, because these are things we could do. But having said all that, why are we not having a film series?
Who's saying that?
That's very little cost.
I just got a note that says, the city gives them millions. I don't know.
Waukegan?
I doubt that.
Waukegan gives them millions. I don't think that is correct. I'm sorry, I don't think that's correct.
Well, let's look into it, Jen.
Please do. I mean, I'm just trying to help the Rialto, but I'm just thinking, you know, film series, little ideas like that. And I know Bicentennial Park has taken some of the ideas that I tried to present the Rialto 2 years ago. And I remember, and Lynn Lichtenauer isn't here, but when we had the 80th, are you here, Lynn? Okay. And Lynn can speak to this. We had the Old Time Showtime, and acts were booked, like vaudeville acts. They showed all movies of the Laurel and Hardy, and they had a special event for everybody, and I think it was like $10 to get in, or it may have even been free at the time, but I know, but Lynn, could you come up and help me with that? Because you were in charge of that at the time, and it was very, very successful, and people keep saying, why don't you guys bring that back, like once every few years?
You are right, Jan. I produced the Return to Old Time Showtime on the occasion of several of the Rialto's birthday events. And it was a vaudeville show, was 8 live acts on stage, the silent movie, and that's what we did. And it was very successful. It turned out to be, I think we charged about $10, if I can recall. And on a Tuesday night, we did about 1,200 seats. That's one that I recall, but that was a long time ago. So
10 years ago.
Okay, but it was a lot of fun, and we did produce and direct it ourselves.
So what I'm saying is to get the community involved in that, and plus other diverse acts, like there's many, like Councilwoman Gavin said, many gospel singers and music, what do you want to call it, music courses and things like that, to appeal to everyone. And this is what we really, really need. If the theater is going to be successful in Joliet, it has to be very diverse so that we can include everybody and not just kids all the time or older folks.
Well, if you look to very recently, we opened the theater to Star Wars, and on Star Wars days, and there were 6,000 people that came through to the Rialto. The Rialto also participated in New Orleans North, and we had a great time. We had the bar set up out in front of the theater under the marquee, and it was a very brisk business for our vodka drinks. So we are
water next time, because no one could buy water anywhere, and that was a problem.
well, we are participating more and more in events downtown, and we'll have the doors open.
Right,
So-
and I attended all those events, and that is correct, bringing the community into the theater where it used to be closed on many of those events. But I'm not criticizing, I'm just trying to help.
Thank you for your comments, and they're well taken. And that is the going forward, it is all about diversity, and it's all about demographics and appealing to many different age groups. So the theater is for everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, Lynn. That's all I have to say, thank you. I know you're new, so that's why I'm just putting it out there.
I do have one other, because you worked obviously in Aurora. It's my understanding that there was a number of different sources that funded the Aurora Theater. Is that correct, the Paramount?
Well, the city was a contributor financially, and we, had a very active sponsorship and development department that, sought out grants and in that particular avenue. I know that early on, the casino used to do, I believe, one show every year. That was before my time there. And then when the taxing changed the structures of the casinos, they stopped doing that, and they would buy tickets, but they didn't do the shows that they had done. I mean, big shows like Frank Sinatra type shows.
Right. Okay, well, obviously, there's been talk about a permanent source of funding. When I say that we are actively pursuing it, we are. We're working on another venue. When one avenue closed, there's another one that opened. With that, though, I've also talked about other units of government stepping up, and I think that's going to be imperative going forward. You know your financials better than we do, but I've seen the books. I've seen the improvements that are needed on that building. You know, obviously, everyone knows the city's given, I think, $20 million over the years to the theater. It's time for other local officials to step up, specifically at the county, at the township, if the state ever could pass a budget, and even federally. I think we need to look at every avenue available, because ultimately, I think the theater is going to need it more than what the city of Joliet or what the foundation can provide, so.
You're absolutely correct, Mayor. We just came from a board meeting, and that is one of the issues we discussed. We're actually going to try and get a workshop on our calendar where we start to look at those sources. We met with Congressman Foster 2 weeks ago?
Yeah,
2 or
Star
3
Wars
weeks
Day.
ago. Yeah, Star Wars Day, actually. And he put us in touch with his grant writer in Washington. So we're pursuing that avenue as well. But you're absolutely correct.
All right, well, thank
You
you.
need to spread it around.
Yes.
I had several questions. How you folks doing? Mr. Flato had asked the councilwoman if she knew the financial condition of the Waukegan Theater, and she didn't. So I'll start with that question. Venue Works has officially been under contract for 1 quarter, April 1st to June 30th. For the most part, although calendar-wise, the 4th quarter isn't concluded, the shows are. There is no more shows in June. You just had Monday local music. So do you have a summary of the profits or loss for the 4th quarter available that can give us to the council? I had asked Councilman.
The 4th quarter ends June 30th.
Right. So
Not there.
do you have any summary or anything out there that shows a projection of
No,
loss?
I'm told the latest financial information we have is only through February because our server went down and we're trying to convert from whatever it is we have over to QuickBooks. And they have started the conversion. I did see some QuickBooks type reports today. But once they get that in, and they have committed to me that they will have a 4th quarter report in July.
And the other question I have is you're 10 days away from the new fiscal year, correct? July 1st? Do you have a projected budget, or at least a summary of a projected budget on profit and loss for the next year?
I mentioned that we met earlier today at 4 o'clock, and we spent, I would say, at least an hour and a half on the first pass of our budget. We went line by line, and we're probably going to make some changes as a result of that. We're hoping to bring it to our meeting, our regular meeting next Wednesday, and if we can get those changes made by then, hopefully we'll approve a budget.
So there's no preliminary summary for either the 4th quarter or next year available right now?
Right now, no.
Also, too, for the 8 shows that we've had up until date this year, starting in January, do we have some numbers on attendance?
Numbers on what?
Attendance.
Oh, attendance, I'm sorry.
We do, I don't. I didn't bring any
Is
with me,
that
I'm
something you
sorry.
can send to the city manager?
Sure.
So the council can see them, break down like for Ron White, he had 2 shows. Not a total, necessarily a total of both shows, but what the first show had and what the second show had.
Ron White.
We want some detail.
I mean, I think I've heard numbers of about 1,600 the first one and 700 the second one.
I don't know. I was at the first
We'll
one.
confirm it and get it to Marty.
Okay, I would appreciate, I think the council would appreciate that. Now, a couple of months ago, when this council approved the $500,000 subsidy, Venue Works had brought forward a proposal, and I'm rounding the numbers, it may be high or low by a little bit. First year loss of about 450 or 460, 450,000. Second year loss of 380, I think it was. Third year loss of 200 and some thousand. Fourth year loss of 100 and some thousand. And the projection was in the 5th year it would be break even and no longer need a subsidy. Are you still on track for that?
I don't recall seeing that, but John, you might want to respond to this. This is John Seal from Venue Works.
Good afternoon, and thank you. I don't recall seeing that exact scenario. In the business plan that Steve Peters presented, I am fairly certain it didn't go down to 0. I'm fairly certain there was an incremental decrease over the first 5 years, but honestly, I don't have that with me, and I don't remember. Did start in the high 400s and did, my recollection says it finished off in the low 200s after 5 years, but it was heading in the right direction. Again, we can gather those numbers.
Yeah, I think Marty probably can.
I can answer that for you if you want.
What do you have?
499 the first year, And in 2021, $289,979. So from 500,000 to 300,000. Is
I'm not
is
sure
the
that I
proposal
ever
that they had given us, that we all have.
Zero.
What was the 5 years, Pat? There was a 5-year
300,000.
projection.
2021 is 5 years.
2021 is 5 years,
You didn't give
300,000.
the years in between?
Sure. Goes from 500,000 to 448,000, 388,000, 342,000, and then 289,000.
Okay. And you're still on track for that?
I
next
believe
year?
we are, yes, absolutely.
So we won't be seeing those $700,000 or $800,000 in operations and non-operational expenditure losses next year?
Everything we know right now, I'd say we're on track.
Okay.
I
All
completely-
right, and the only other question, and I think this is for those that are interested in the Rialto, I mean, those that are very much, out there. It's probably at least a small white elephant in the corner. What can you share about the new management company? There's been some controversy about that. I believe you
talking
discussed
about
it
the property
today.
management company?
Yes, correct, out of Mokina.
That was a topic of discussion at our meeting today, and the action the board took was to basically rescind and go back to Mr. Oliveri and ask him to consider breaking his proposal into components that we might consider a more feasible and a more reasonable in terms of cost component.
Well, this is a professional services contract, kind of like we do many here at the city, and they're requests for proposals, not requests for quotes. They're a proposal. And certainly, commercial property management, there's thousands of companies in the greater 7-county Chicagoland area. Why aren't you doing a full bidding process?
Well, we had to respond rather quickly in this situation. We were advised by council that, yes, it would have been a good practice to do that. We're not aware of anyone in the Joliet, Will County area that does that. So we sought his proposal.
Well, now that you've rescinded it, the urgency seems to be gone, so will you be doing
No,
a
the
full?
urgency is not gone. It's not gone whatsoever. The budget we looked at today, as an example, shows a decrease in rental income from 2 years ago of about 148,000, I think it was. And I have a very, very deep concern that that's going to continue. We're going to lose tenants, and we're going to have to reduce rates to keep people. I'm concerned, and in the long run, that building could pull down a theater. And that's why I think it's critical that we have a management company address that building.
Well, it's my understanding right now, capacity is roughly 20%.
I'm sorry,
Capacity at the rental building is roughly 20% for tenants.
20% availability?
No, 20% taken, leased,
20%?
leased, 80% available.
I don't think it's that low. It's more like 46, 48% full.
So there won't be a bidding process on this.
I'm not even sure we're going to go forward with a management company at this point.
Mayor, that's all I have. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Mayor, I just have a couple of quick follow-up. I think the whole point of this, bringing up the other shows is the council, we're providing, quite a bit of financial support, and we see these other theaters that are pulling in, a large number of seemingly successful shows, and I guess that's kind of the point. So I just want to explain the urgency, I guess, to try to seek funds beyond that of just the city or just the foundation.
We understand.
Okay, and then just one more thing, and I know you probably don't have the answer for it, but what is then the cost to just open the doors for a particular show? To kind of give us a general idea of what kind of shows you have to pull in to, break even.
That's very dependent on the act itself.
No, I mean, forget the act itself, just.
Oh, you mean like for a
general.
rental?
No, not even
Like,
for rentals.
A dance,
Or, if I wanted to put
Recital or-
if I wanted to put a show on, say, how much does it cost to open the doors for me to put on a show?
Well, there's several answers to that question. If you were to come and say, I just want to rent the theater, there
Okay.
is a cost to that.
Right.
Monday through Thursday has a cost, and the weekends has a cost, so that's $1 amount. That's not what you're going to base your ticket sales on, because you have to add all of those other costs, which is the act and the stagehands and the staff that we're going to have to provide for that. So I know that in the perfect world, I would give you 239 tickets, but there's too many factors that are unknown variables, because if you have a $2,000 act, your break-even ticket sales is going to be way different than if you have an $80,000 act, because with an $80,000 act comes a higher stagehand cost and all the other things that are going to affect how many tickets you need to sell to break even.
So independent of the act.
If you were going to rent the theater, just the theater, on a Monday through Thursday, we would charge $4,700, and if it was on a weekend, it would be $5,700.
But the cost associated with that.
Well, you get the space. Now, whatever you do in that space is now going to start compiling on top of that cost.
Okay. So then that's where the stagehands and all that, and
Correct.
your staff and all those other things.
Correct.
Okay. I guess we're, there's a lot of money and not a lot of shows, I guess, and that's what the point is. These shows are very expensive. I'm guessing.
Yes, and we have currently, there are 9 offers out in addition to the shows that you see booked. As I think we talked when I was here last time, it's not like going to the store and buying this. You go in, you say, that's the one I want, and I'm going to take it with me. We are vying for the same entertainment person with several different venues. So they're collecting who's going to pay and what the routing looks like. So they want to get the best deal that they can. So if I'm offering $50,000 for the Quillman sisters to come and perform, but Waukegan is going to pay her $60,000, she's going to take Waukegan. Now they may come back to me and say, well, would you give us money off the back end, or would you pay for some other things? So they give us the opportunity to be competitive, but sometimes that competitive option prices the Quillman sisters out of our price market, and it puts the ticket sales at a place where we don't feel comfortable that the risk is going to be too great. Does that make sense? Okay.
That's all I have.
Any questions, comments? Yeah.
Just to kind of pick up again on what Mr. Shanahan had said, as far as, we are contributing a lot of money, and the objective is to get more shows, to get more people downtown. What is the expectation? Maybe you don't have this answer, but, taking into consideration, weddings and bar mitzvahs and when the facilities, used for private purposes, what is your expectation as far as the number of shows annually? I mean, is it 30, 40, 50, 60, 80? Do you have that number? Because that's what's important to us up here, is that we want to see a diverse group of entertainment, but we want to make sure that there are acts being booked to bring people around town and enjoy our fabulous city, eat at our restaurants and that sort of thing. So do you have an expectation number at all?
When we talked about the budget today, John, we talked about a number of 65. But in addition to that, as you just alluded to, it would be the Star Wars days and any event like that we would open the theater up to the community. And that would not include, the dance recitals and the children's programs and those types of things.
Private use.
Right. Weddings, corporate meetings.
Thank you.
And I just want to say, in addition to that, I don't think we've limited ourselves. If we could have something, 7 days a week, we certainly would. So we're not saying, well, the city only said we need 65, so when we hit 65, we're going to stop. Because we realize the more successful things that we can book, the better it is for everybody. You're happy, we're happy, the downtown's happy. So we're certainly not setting any kind of minimum goal for ourselves. We're trying to push ourselves as far and as hard as we can to achieve these goals. And in that end, we talked about it earlier today, it's our hope as we're revamping our website to be able to put up a calendar, because I know that there was some question, well, we'll just go to the website and see what they have. Well, this is true and it isn't true. Some of the things aren't on the website yet, but for community events, we'll get a call from, Kathy at Chicago, and she'll say, what have you got this weekend? Because I got killed last weekend with a dance recital. So we'd like to have a calendar that is for the folks downtown to be able to see everything that's going on. Maybe you're not going to care because you're looking for something specific to do on Saturday and it's not really a dance recital. But it'll give everyone a good snapshot of everything that's going on instead of just the sporadic events that are open to everyone.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, one quick question, just for some clarity. Again, some people have asked yesterday, there was some discussion about the Rialto, you folks weren't here. And when people say so-and-so, say for instance, you, Ms. Devine, works for the Rialto, they're getting corrected saying, no, she works for VenueWorks. So I know you've reorganized the old staff. Some were let go, some were eliminated, positions may have eliminated, created some new. What's the total staffing now? How many positions? What's the total payroll now? And what is the, who's the boss? VenueWorks, are they working for VenueWorks and VenueWorks pays them? Or is there a cash flow coming through Rialto and Rialto's paying them? How much is that and where's that cash coming from right now?
We all work for VenueWorks. We are VenueWorks employees, everyone.
The budget we talked about today had nine staff members, plus three what do you say?
Plus 3 engineers.
Plus 3 engineers. And the total payroll was $1,070,000, no?
748 and 164.
900.
748,000 theater staff. That includes the part-time, 164 for the engineers, which includes overtime for them. And then there's taxes and benefits.
So certainly, when you present a budget, you guys have, you're 10 days away and there's no budget yet. Maybe you're under the gun, huh? You're 10 days away from the new budget fiscal year. When you do that, you'll break out, I don't think anybody wants names, but you certainly will list all 9 positions and what they're being paid, individually, itemized. By
Probably
position.
not.
Well, why not?
It's private information. VenueWorks is a privately owned company.
That's what brings me back to my other question is VenueWorks paying out of their money or out of the funds coming from the Rialto for these positions?
Well, they're using the money from the Rialto.
Okay. So it is public dollars, pseudo-public dollars being used by a private company. So I think you actually are obligated to break that out. But I don't know. We'll let the attorney talk.
I can talk to our counsel about it, too.
Any questions, comments?
Your Honor, I just have one comment. You know, it was mentioned about New Orleans North, and that event was, in my opinion, was a very classy event. Everything came together, the weather, everything, and having the Rialto marquee lit and people going in and out of there just made it that much more classy, you know. And I think that the mayor will announce at his breakfast next week, and he's done it at a couple of neighborhood meetings, and that the downtown area now probably has more potential than it has had in a lot of years. And I think the Rialto will play a major part of that. And, you know, with the changing of Chicago Street, the streetscapes, the amount of restaurants coming in. So, you know, I think the potential with the Rialto there is nothing but excellent. And that, I think it's going to be a good partnership.
We hope so, too.
All right, well, thank you. One last follow-up. I agree, Councilman Turk. That's something this council was urging for a long time, for the theater to be more in tune with what's happening downtown, and you're doing it. So kudos to all you, and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next is new business, not for final action or recommendation.
New business, Don?
None.
Eddie?
Just one thing, I think, and this is directed to our fire department, Station 4. I noticed today, and I love the plants, don't get me wrong, I love the plants, but the informational sign is missing. Is that temporarily, or are you going to be putting that back, or?
Councilwoman, actually what we've done is we've moved to electronic signboards. All the ones that are around the city, we are now putting our messages out on that. We felt we got more bang for the buck by doing that. So all the electronic boards that are currently in the city, our messages are on there as well as on our Facebook.
Okay, all right. So a few of my constituents are missing the informational sign. You know, we love the flowers, but, you know, we also love going by and finding out what Station 4 is doing and what's going on in the community as well. So,
And most of those signs are in poor condition due to their age. And due to cost, we're not replacing those.
so all of them gone, or?
There are some, Station 8 was replaced just last year, so that one will remain in place. Station 10, as well as Station 3, have electronic signboards, and those will stay in place as well.
Okay, all right. So I need to get some information to Station 4. Those are my guys up there. I want to know what they're doing. And one other point, and this is Kendall. Sir, there is a business on Route 6, auto repair. shop. I think it is called El Valle or something like that. But can we look to see? I'm seeing it being turned into a car lot. We got cars for sale, probably maybe 10 to 15 cars outside. I thought they were just going to be changing tires, and so I'm not sure if something happened.
Where is this at again, Councilwoman?
Route 6, right across from Silver Cross Hospital.
Okay, we'll take a look at it.
Could you take a look for me? Okay, thanks.
Larry?
Next is public comments. First, we have Kathy Lynn.
Just curious.
4 minutes.
4 minutes.
I will try to talk fast. I'm here tonight just to speak about two topics. The first one is about a feral cat problem that's in the area of Richmond and Rayner. I'm not sure if anyone has made the city aware. It has been increasing in population for 2 years, but strangely, we only have about 5 or 6 cats, and recently a new litter that has just been born under my neighbor's porch. The problem with this is that they fight nightly. You can hear them screeching. They relieve themselves on people's porches, under their porches, on their property. They lay about in the lawns, on my back porch, on my steps, on other people's porches. My neighbor can't leave her cushions out because they relieve themselves on her cushions of her chairs on her front porch. There's, like I said, 5 or 6 of them. One is supposed to be a fixed male that's supposed to be controlling the population, but we have 2 males that are not. So I don't know who exactly to contact about that. Help would be great. The second thing is the unreasonable and unfair and unduly burdensome enforcement of the property maintenance ordinances in Joliet. Warnings are no longer issued for first violations to any property or property owner, nor first-time complaints against a person or property. The orange warning sticker that they give people states failure to comply with this notice will result in further action by the city. However, there's no chance to comply with that notice because the hearing notice you're mailed is dated the same exact date. So you are forced to take a day off of work and come in the middle of the week at 1 o'clock in the afternoon to go before an administrative hearing officer to basically be fined and charged a hearing fee where there's no chance of any leniency in the enforcement. It is almost across the board, no minimum. Also, then the hearing notice you get says that you have to pay your fines on the day of the hearing, which without any notice of what your fine is going to be, how can people prepare to pay that fine? It seems to be a bit excessive for a first violation notice. Now, on that same part where it says that the property notice states you have to pay the day of the hearing, the decision order you received from the hearing officer says that you have 35 days, it says, sorry, I have to flip back. Payment of all costs and or fines is due. Now, let me start. That's on the orange notice. My apologies. Please remit payment in a timely manner to the City of Joliet. Payment of the violation total within 35 days of the decision pursuant to the provisions of the Administrative Review Law. So those two conflict. One wants it on the day of hearing, next one gives you 35 days. They refer to the Administrative Review Law, 735 LCS, Chapter 5, Section 3-101, which states that you cannot force someone to pay that fine until their time for review, administrative review through the courts has been expired or is done, or you have filed for that review, which you get 35 days, so one of these notices is violating the law at least. And for lack of a better term, there should be an established progressive discipline plan in place in the Neighborhood Services Department and followed by the hearing officers. The hearing officer is granted broad authority and issues findings, decisions, and orders in an unfair, inconsistent, and arbitrary nature. The duties of the hearing officer include a requirement to be fair and impartial, but this was definitely not the case on my hearing last week, July 13th. June 13th. An example, a person who was their first complaint was issued a finding of in violation in order to pay $150 in hearing fees only. Other people with the same violation, first complaint, were issued a $150 hearing fee and a $150 fine. Another person who had a history of complaints, again, one of the violations was the same, was given more in fines, but when she said she couldn't pay, she was given 60 days automatically by the hearing officer to pay, in excess of that 35, which is fine. Another man who had to have an interpreter, who was his daughter, had $600 in fines, which I believe were unfair, compare again, was only offered 30 days by the hearing officer to pay. So $450 is given 60, $600 is given 30. Does not seem to be very consistent or fair enforcement.
Ma'am, you're at the 5-minute mark, ma'am.
Okay. You're not letting me finish?
If you could wrap it up, please.
Okay, it's only a little bit more. The inspector ignored or dismissed a 50-foot dead tree violation and ignored a 25-foot dead tree another 50-foot, that's about 25 feet away. I specifically asked the hearing officer that day if I had to pay the fine since I was going to appeal. He would not give me any legal advice, which I understand, but did not refer me to that notice or anything. So I paid, thinking under what I will call the threat of, if I don't pay, there'll be further fines from the city for not doing so. Afterwards, I read all of this. So my point is, if the hearing officer has no intention of leniency, if someone appears at the hearing, then it seems to be an undue burden to make somebody take a day off of work, come down here, and get the same amount of fines that someone could just issue a citation for, and skip all that. They're losing a day of work, rearranging a schedule, having to have somebody watch their kids, whatever may apply. So I am making an official complaint against Neighborhood Services and the representative of the City of Joliet who presided over that hearing last week on June 13th for excessive, inconsistent, and arbitrary enforcement and a false interpretation of the rules and orders issued.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak under public comments?
Carol Mulvihill, 1502 Woodbridge, Joliet. I'd like to address some things that I watched last night's meeting. Children for Peace and the 3 Cirque d'Or shows were night shows. You could bring children to them. As for the Round White show, the first one was sold out. That's why they had a second show. The school children programs, they bring approximately 40 to 60,000 children here. There are future residents, and there are also possible Rialto goers in the future. The homeschool groups that come do stay downtown sometimes and eat or go to the library, go to the museum. The dance competitions, we've had 3 this year. One was an international one from all over the United States. They go for 3 days from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., 9 p.m. One of them went till midnight. And the point about the $250,000, in order for the city to recoup that money, they either need 5,000 people to spend $50 here or 10,000 people to spend $25. We've already had over 10,000 people brought here by the Rialto. So you've recouped the 2,000 or the 250,000 already. And also the local people are the ones that benefited from this. I know that one of the places, they cut their meats daily and they ran out of stuff when we have these dance competitions. So even though the local people may not be going to them, although some of the local people can go to the local recitals when the box office sells the tickets. But the city does benefit. So for the 20 million, you're not out the 20 million. You probably recoup that 4 to 7 times. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Next is mayor and council comments.
None?
Nothing.
Eddie? And-
Two things.
I got a lot, so.
I have two things. Again, with the heat coming, last week, couple weeks, it was 90 degrees. Okay, people, please do not leave your dog in the car. Over the weekend, a puppy was left in a car at Walmart. Thank goodness that they called the police. The police came and cited the gentleman for leaving the little puppy in the hot car, almost died. Okay, so please, most important is your children. Don't leave your children in a hot car. But second of all, do not leave a poor, helpless animal with the windows rolled up, because if you use a little common sense, when you get in that car after you've been shopping, you know how hot it is. So think of suffocating something in that heat. And second of all, I know it's a little bit early, but since we're not going to meet until after the 4th of July, please watch the fireworks. The fine, if you're caught, is $500 now, because last year we had sticks of dynamite going off. And I know the police are on alert and they're sending out notices, and they want people to be aware. Call the police, because that's what they're there for, because it's just so darn dangerous. Kids don't realize, and it's fun to have the sparklers and what's legal, but these sticks of dynamite have got to stop. And with that being said, everyone, please have a safe and happy 4th of July.
Okay, I'll start with there. Happy 4th of July to everybody. We are having fireworks at the stadium on July 4th. Thank you to Mary Jaworski and the Chamber of Commerce and Terry Darcy for the great job they did raising money. I've been told that they went way over budget, actually, in what they collected, so they did a great job this year. Also, Bicentennial Park will have fireworks on July 1st. They did that for a long time. It had been discontinued. They started again last year, and it was a great success. So thank you to the folks down at Bicentennial Park, and that should be a lot of fun. A couple weeks ago, Amazon Fulfillment Center in Romeoville had a grand opening. It was a big media event. I was invited to speak along, obviously, with Mayor Noak from Romeoville, Larry Walsh, and then Governor Rauner was present. So Chicago media was there. The four of us spoke. I did ask Amazon why they didn't do anything like this when they've opened 2 facilities in Joliet. I didn't really get a straight answer from them. They said that they think they want to do something in the future here in Joliet. But in any case, Joliet was recognized for the investment that Amazon's made and for the 3,500 jobs that they've brought into our city. I want to thank Krista Desiderio and Bob Navarro for the work you and your staff did on the IHSA baseball tournament. It was another big success, the high school baseball tournament here in Joliet. Krista, along with numerous city workers who volunteered their time, were there all weekend. So thank you for the hard work. That was a great job. The same night, Friday night was New Orleans North. It's been talked about already. Thank you to the Chamber of Commerce. I think the estimate of people who came in for New Orleans North was 7,500 people. The Rialto was open. All the downtown bars or restaurants were participating. There were outside restaurants that came in. I think they were either running out of food or the lines were so long they couldn't serve the food. So it was a great event. It's growing every year. Another success for downtown Joliet. So again, thank you to the Chamber for the hard work they did putting that on. On June 9th, I was with John Zelenka and the Project Acclaim folks. They presented Scott Slocum a Man of the Year award when Scott was on the air. So thank you to John and Project Acclaim for the hard work they're doing, and congratulations to Scott Slocum. On June 13th, the Des Plaines River Valley Enterprise Zone voted. I was there along with Steve Jones. They voted to expand the zone to include Ecolab from Joliet into the enterprise zone, and also the potential property or investment for the Cullinan Group. And Mayor Noak, the whole group was really gushing over Cullinan. Mayor Noak was very excited, and I think said correctly, not only is this great for Joliet, this project will be great for the entire region. So thank you to the enterprise zone for including those new properties inside their zone. That same day, I was at St. Joe's Hospital, and the Carolyn Zerkes Emergency Department was officially open. Thank you to Ed Zerkes and his family for the very generous donation they gave to St. Joe's Hospital. It was a very nice event that day, and Ed, of course, is a huge benefactor all over Joliet. But thank you again, once again, for stepping up for our community. Also that day was the Flags of Valor ceremony that happened right here in the council chambers. Councilwoman Quillman, Wayne Horn, and retired Army Colonel Jim Caparelli, who's a local attorney, put that Flags of Valor ceremony on. It was a very moving ceremony, very well done, and a real compliment to our community to step up for 20 area servicemen who have died in battle since September 11, 2001. So thank you, Jan, and committee for that work.
Thank you.
June 14th, I was invited to St. Edward and Christ Episcopal Church on Midland Avenue to celebrate the Reverend Richard Lundgren was named the pastor of the church. It was a real nice night there, so thank you to the folks over there. Congratulations, Reverend Lundgren. June 15th, Cornerstone had their, I guess it's the 3rd annual art show at the museum. It's a really nice event. If you haven't attended, I hope Cornerstone lets us know next year. We can help push it out to get people there. But some of the people who are serviced by Cornerstone either show off their talent as artists or they were photographers. And these items are available for purchase. The money, some of the money will go to Cornerstone, some of the money goes to the actual people who have created the art or the pictures. And there's some real quality stuff. I buy something every year, and I bought something again this year. But thank you, Cornerstone, and congratulations to the men and women who participated. June 16th, myself, Councilwoman Quillman, Councilman Turk, and Councilman Dickinson were at the Habitat for Humanity ribbon cutting on Larkin Avenue. I think we all were very impressed with what Habitat has done with that space. I don't know what's left after the line of people that were waiting to get in there. They did want to push out, if you have used or gently used items that could be donated, please consider Habitat for Humanity. Again, they had a huge crowd there the day of the ribbon cutting, so I'm sure a lot of things have been picked over. But please keep them in mind, and congratulations to the folks for Habitat for putting that together. Again, June 16th, the Chamber of Commerce had their fundraiser at Darcy for the fireworks, and they did a great job. Again, I heard that they went over budget. Finally, this last weekend on Saturday at Inwood, myself, Councilman Turk, Councilwoman Gavin, and Councilman Dickinson, I know we're at the 4th annual Friends and Family Community Picnic at Inwood Park. It was put on by Brandy Phillips and Gloria McDaniel. Great job again. It was a great turnout. Thank you to those on the council who attended. And then also Saturday, the Mount Ebal Baptist Church in Lockport invited me. The Lebanon Baptist Scholarship Committee had an event where they were giving scholarship money to young men and women in the community who had accelerated academically. It was a very nice event. So thank you for the invite, and congratulations to all the people who won scholarships or partial scholarships for their academic achievements. And then finally, I'd like to wish a happy anniversary to my mother and father-in-law, Rick and Ruth Evans. They're celebrating their 46th wedding anniversary. So it's a great event, nice milestone for them, and congratulations. And I agree with Councilwoman Coleman, have a happy and safe 4th of July. And please be cognizant of your neighbors, especially seniors or people with young children, when you're having your fun on the 4th of July.
Mayor, if I could just add one footnote to the Flags of Valor.
Yes.
That event would not have been the most successful if it had not been for Peggy Thomas and Jen Garcia, who were here and set everything up that morning. So
You're right. Thank you for including that.
kudos to them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, do you mind if I say something?
Sure.
Just a reminder, this weekend is the Joliet Park District Taste of Joliet. It's a wonderful time. It's sold out every year. Usually the Park District gets between 12 and 15,000 people. And all we need is some nice weather. We've got great acts coming, and I hope everybody can attend. Thank you.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Motion second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.